Hey guys, welcome back to Shristi Tech Academy. In today's video, I have got something exciting. Spring Boot Rapid Fire Challenge. These are one-liner interview questions in Spring Boot. The rules are simple. Check how many of these questions can you answer before the video ends. Whether you are a beginner or already working in Spring, challenge yourself to take up these questions and analyze where you are standing technically and what are the topics that you need to sharpen up. Guys, these are the most commonly asked interview questions. I have not touched upon any advanced questions and I am not talking about any tricky questions. Trust me, these questions are quick to learn, but they are super effective and will help you to ace your next spring interview. As I ask each question, take a second to think of an answer. I will reveal the correct answer right after. Keep track of your score and challenge yourself to hit a 50. Are you ready to test your Spring Boot skills? Yes. Now let us get started. Okay, guys, let us get started. Doesn't matter whether you are a beginner or you are already working in Spring Boot. Take this as a challenge. Keep a pen and paper next to you to note down the scores. Finally, I will be really happy to see your scores in the comments. First question. The client sends the data in the URL. Which annotation is used to retrieve this data in the controller? Take up your time. The clock ticking starts now. Let me reveal the answer. At path variable. So simple, isn't it? Next question. The client sends the data from a form that uses get method. That is, the data is coming as a query string to the controller. Which annotation helps to retrieve the data? 1 to 60. 1 second gone. The answer is at request param. Next question. Which annotation marks the main class as a Spring Boot application? This is very simple. Even any beginner who has started learning Spring will know the answer for this. It is at Spring Boot application. Next question. How do you change the server port? It can be done in many different ways. I just want one simple answer. Set server.port equal to any port number in YAML or properties file. Next question. The client sends the data from a form that uses post method. Which annotation helps to retrieve this data? That is, in this case, the data comes from the body part of a request. So what is the annotation that is used to retrieve the data from the controller? Time up. Request body. I hope you all have got a full on score till now. Next question. How do you convert a Spring Boot app into an executable jar? That is, once my Spring Boot application is ready, I want to convert it into a jar file. So how this can be done? Time up. Build using Maven or Gradle plugin. Most of the times we are comfortable working with Maven. Suppose if you are using Maven, then you need to use the command Maven package to create the jar file. Next question. Which file holds default Spring Boot configuration? That is, where will you add the configuration details? Yeah, you all know the answer for this. It is either application.properties or application.yaml. Okay, one more thing. Which has highest priority? Whether it is application.properties or application.yaml. Application.properties always has the highest priority. Meaning to say that in both the files, if you have given server.port, as in application.properties you have given server.port as 8081 and in application.yaml you have given the port number as 8082, means the property that you have provided in application.properties only will have highest priority. So the application will run only in port number 8081. Next question. If more than one bean of the same type is available, which annotation is used to choose and inject a specific bean? Yes. What is the answer for this? Suppose say I have notification service as my interface. I have two implementation classes, email notification and SMS notification. I have added this notification service as an instance variable in one other class, and this is annotated with @AutoWired. Now I have two beans of the same type, email notification and SMS notification, which are of type notification. So what is the annotation? Yes, @qualifier. If you have got this answer correct, very good, pat on your back. Next question. If the client wants to update few properties of a resource, which annotation is used to map the controller method? The clock is ticking. Yes, the answer is patch mapping. Next question. What is the difference between patch and put? The time is running. Put is used for full update. Patch is used for partial update. Whenever you want to update few properties of a particular resource, use patch mapping. If you want to update many properties of a particular resource, it is always a better choice to use put mapping. Put mapping replaces the entire resource. Patch mapping updates the properties that you have got from the client. Okay, 10 questions over. I hope most of you would have got all 10 correct. If not, it's okay. You are in the learning phase. Even I have gone through the same thing years before. In a Spring MVC application, which servlet is responsible for handling all the client's requests that is coming inside? Tick, 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 tick. Any guess? Any wild guess? The answer is dispatcher servlet. Whatever request is coming from the client, it will always hit the dispatcher servlet first. This dispatcher servlet is like a receptionist or a security who is checking your identity before allowing you to enter into any particular office. Same way, in a MVC application, whatever request is coming from the client will hit the dispatcher servlet only. Okay, next question. Which annotation is used to give a different table name for an entity? This is actually a hibernate question. Just because we are working with Spring with data-jpa, you need to know the answer for this also. My entity class name is product. I don't want to have the table name as product. I want to have a different table name. So what is the annotation that we need to use? Time up. At table name equal to product underscore details. My class name is product. My entity name is product. But my table name is product underscore details. Okay, let us move on to the next question. Which annotation is used to inject dependencies into a class? You all know the annotation, but there is a trick. But also supports optional injection when no bean is available. As in, if that particular bean is not available, I should not get any exception. So what is the annotation and what are the relevant things that we need to add? The time starts now. Time up. You all know the annotation that is used to inject the dependencies in a class is @AutoWired. But if that particular bean is not available, I should not get any exception. That is why the question states it should support optional injection. So use required equal to false. In this case, even if the bean is not available, we don't have to auto-wire it. That's it. Next question. Which annotation is used to auto-generate the ID? Quick. The answer is @generated-value. If you want to give a different name for your sequence, then you can use @sequence-generator together with this. Which annotation allows the class to be auto-detected as a spring bean? This is a very simple question. In any interview, for any beginner, you will get this question. Here I have added only two annotations. One is at component, at service. So automatically they will be detected as a spring bean. The classes annotated with this annotation will be detected as a spring bean. Next question. Which annotation is used to mark a property as ID? The question itself is having the answer at ID. 16 questions completed. I hope you would have marked most of the answers correct. If not, that's okay. We are in the learning phase. Let me move on to the next question. How many instances of a bean are created by default? You all know what is a spring bean. Spring bean is a Java object that is created by the IOC container. So how many instances are created by default by the IOC container? The answer is 1. In case of spring, spring is singleton, that is the design pattern that it is using. So only one instance is created for each class. This is called a scope. Scope is singleton. Next question. Which type of dependency injection helps to create immutable classes? You know the two types of dependency injection, setter-based dependency injection, constructor-based dependency injection. So which helps to create immutable classes? Time up. It is constructor-based dependency injection. Next question. How to check the metrics and health of a Spring application? Think of the answer. Okay, let me just show it off. Add actuator dependency and expose the endpoints in YAML. So automatically you will be able to get the health of your Spring application, and also you will be able to know the metrics of this application as well. Question 20. How would Spring inject a value from application.properties into a field? As in application.properties I am having employee.name. I want this to be injected into employee name of a particular class. So what is the annotation? The time is running. Any guess? If you have done it correct, give a pat on your back, because this is confusing. Using at value annotation above the field. If I am having a field as employee name, that is string employee name, above that add the annotation at value. Next question. Which annotation marks a class as REST API? Way too simple. Yes, the annotation is at REST controller. Next question. How to handle the exceptions that occur in a controller class? In one single controller class. Please check the question and answer. Time is running. Okay, let me just tell the answer. In the controller class, add a method that is annotated with @exception_handler. Pass the exception that you want to handle within this annotation. So this behaves like a catch. In Java, you have a try and a catch. Whenever an exception occurs in the try block, automatically it will enter into the catch block. Same way, whenever an exception occurs in the controller class, automatically it should enter into a method that is annotated with @exception_handler, within which we will be catching the appropriate exception. Okay, next question. How to handle all the exceptions that occur in REST API? That is, I want to have a global exception handler. The time is up. Create a class that is annotated with @controller_advice to handle the exception. Within this class, you will be having many methods that are annotated with @exception_handler. Each method handling a specific exception. If you have done this right, again give a big pat on your back, because this is a bit complicated. Now let me move on to the next question. While auto wiring, if two beans of same type exist, what will Spring do? We have seen the example already. In that case, I told if two beans of the same type exist, if I want to choose a particular bean, we have used at qualifier. Assume that I forgot to add at qualifier. What will happen? I know you got it right, but you have to be very specific. If you have written this particular answer, give yourself a mark. It throws no unique bean definition exception. Obviously, you would have told it as it will throw an exception, but I want the exact exception. It throws no unique bean definition exception. Next question. What does Spring do with the controller return value when you forget at response body or at rest controller? As in, the controller class is annotated with simple at controller annotation, just like what we do for MVC applications. What will happen to the return value? Okay. The answer is the return value will be considered as a view name. Because you have annotated this class with at controller, the return value of each method will be considered only as a view name. If that particular view page is not available, obviously it will throw an exception. Okay, 25 questions done. We are half the way through. Now check your scores. Hope you have cracked most of the questions. Let us still continue. What design pattern does Spring use to manage bean creation and wiring? That is bean creation and injection. So what is the design pattern? This is not about talking about the singleton design pattern. That is about the scope. Here what I am asking is creating a bean and injecting the bean to the proper classes. So what is the design pattern? Time up. It is dependency injection. Most of you would have got it right. Few of you would have written it as singleton. Singleton is just for that Spring bean. One bean is created by the IOC container. That is singleton by nature. But for creation and injecting the beans to the appropriate classes is called as dependency injection. Next question. What does at Spring Boot application actually contain? That is, what are the annotations that are available in at Spring Boot application? Time starts. Okay. This annotation is a combination of at component scan, at configuration, at enable auto configuration. Next question. How do you ensure a collection is loaded immediately with its parent entity in JPA? This use case occurs when you are working with one-to-many and many-to-many annotation. As in, one student has taken a list of courses. So, while retrieving it from the database, when I am retrieving the student object, together with that, I want to get the list of courses that particular student has taken. So, how to tackle it? Time up. The answer is use fetch is equal to fetch type.eager. Fetch is an attribute. You need to add this attribute with one-to-many or with many-to-many. In both the cases, it will work fine. Let us move on to the next question. How do you validate request bodies in Spring REST API? One single annotation that will be added together with the data that is coming from the client. Means the client should not send null value, should give the proper password, should give the proper mobile number. So how to do the validation? Use at valid annotation. If you have done this right, literally big thumbs up. Which class in Spring helps to return the status, payload and headers from a REST API to the client? Think of this answer. I usually like a cartoon song which is from Winnie the Pooh. The song goes like this. When you have a problem, think, 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 think. Just go to YouTube, search for this Winnie the Pooh, think, think, think. Automatically you will get it. Whenever there is a problem, it will always think. So likewise, you also think and find the answer for this. When I am returning the data to the client, I want to attach status, payload, that is the body part, and the headers from the REST API and send it to the client. So what is that we will be using? We use response entity. Okay. Next question. What can be done to detect the classes in different package? Okay. Let me just tell the answer. Either you need to make the hierarchy right or use an attribute in Spring Boot application. The attribute is scan base packages. Pass the different package name where you want to auto detect the beans. This is one way. One other way is you can also add component scan, within which you can pass the package name. If you have added that answer, that also is correct, you can give a thumbs up. Okay, you can add one more mark. Next question. How does Spring Boot automatically configure your application? How is it possible? As in, when I am adding web as dependency, it is automatically adding embedded Tomcat server. If I am adding security as dependency, it is providing the default username and password. How is it possible? How Spring is avoiding the boilerplate code? So this is achieved with the help of Spring Boot application, which is having enable auto configuration, which is responsible for enabling certain classes and interfaces based on the dependencies that you have added. If you are adding data.jpa, it knows that it has to enable data source. If you are adding security, it knows that it has to enable security specific features. That is, it will provide a default username and password. If you have added web as dependency, it will automatically add embedded Tomcat server. So this is how using this particular annotation. Next question. How to execute a bulk update without using repository save? You all know when we are using put method, when we use save, automatically it will be replaced by a new resource in the backend. But I want to do a bulk update. So how to do that? Clock is ticking. Time up. Use @modifying together with @query annotation. That is, explicitly you are going to use update query, just like how you are using in MySQL. Then together with that, you also have to add @modifying annotation. When you are performing the SQL queries all by itself, Spring Framework will find it difficulty to be in a particular transaction. So the method in the service layer that is calling this particular method in the repository layer should be annotated with @transactional. I will repeat, the method in the service layer should be annotated with @transactional because it is calling this particular method which is having the annotation @modifying and @query. Next question. How to define a bean in a Java configuration? Means I want to create my own beans. Yes? Time up. Add a method annotated with @bean in the configuration class. Next question. How do you expose a REST endpoint in Spring Boot? Okay, let us check the answer. Use @REST controller and map methods with @get mapping, post mapping, put mapping, patch mapping, delete mapping. This is way too simple, right? This question is simple. Now next question. How to externalize configuration in Spring Boot? What are the different ways in which we can provide configuration details for our Spring Boot application? Let us see the answer. Use profiles, environment variables, command line arguments. While running your Spring Boot application as a jar file, you can provide the details in command line arguments or using environment variables or using profile. If I want to pick and choose a particular profile during the runtime, I can provide it using environment variables or using command line arguments. Next question. Which annotation combines web controller behavior and gives automatic JSON response conversion in Spring? That is, it should have a controller behavior. At the same time, the methods should return a JSON response. By this time, you could have guessed the answer. Yes, it is REST controller. REST controller is a combination of controller and response body. Controller helps us to get the web behavior. Response body helps us to return the data in JSON format. That's it. Next question. How to secure APIs without storing user sessions on the server? I don't want to save the user sessions on the server side. So what is the best alternative? Quick thinking. Yes. using JWT authentication, which is the hard selling cake now. Next question. How to allow public access to specific URLs while keeping others secured? Any guess? The answer is configure HTTP request in security filter chain and permit specific endpoints. As in authorized HTTP request, use request matches to identify the REST endpoints and use permit all to permit them. Next question. How to apply sorting to query results in spring-data-jpa? When the data is retrieved from the database, it will come as it is entered in the database table. Now how to sort it? Using a specific property by name, by email, by city, by mobile, by salary. Let us see the answer. Pass sort object in find method. In JPA repository we have a method find. It is repository.find, within which you need to pass an object of sort. In sort, you need to specify with what property you want to sort, either with one property or 2 to 3 properties. Next question. If a secured endpoint keeps returning 403 despite valid credentials, what's likely wrong? I am an authenticated user. I have given my credentials. My credentials are already available in the database. But if I am trying to access a particular REST endpoint, I am getting 403. What can be the issue? Any guess? Hope you got the answer right. It is because this authenticated user is not authorized. He is not having the appropriate authority or role to access this particular REST endpoint. Let us move on to the next question. What annotation allows method level access controller using SPEL? Spring Expression Language Expressions. This is while using security. I want to provide method level security access. So what is the annotation that we need to use? Only if the user is authorized, he will be allowed to access this particular method. Any guess? People who are working in Spring Boot might be knowing this. So the annotation is at pre-authorize. 42 done, 8 more to go. Keep your spirits high. Finally, I would like to see your scores in the comments. Which annotation allows storing a list of string values? Let us see the answer. At element collection. Just like how we are doing association mapping, when you want to work with a list of string values, then you need to use at element collection. Next question. Which annotation allows to define custom JPQL or SQL queries in spring-data-jpa? The annotation that we are going to use is at query. By default, this query annotation supports only JPQL. If you want to work with native SQL queries, then you need to use the attribute native query equal to true. Next question. How to enable caching in a Spring application? Very simple. Use the annotation at enable caching. Next question. How to add profiles to specific beans? In my configuration class, I have created multiple bean definitions. I want to add profiles to specific beans. Only if the particular profile is active, that bean should be created. Let us check the answer. Use profile above the bean method. I have a method which is annotated with @bean. Together with that, I need to add this @profile annotation. How to pick a specific bean if more than one bean of the same type is available in Java-based configuration? If it is in a class, you know that we can use @qualifier. What is the annotation that I need to use in Java-based configuration? Any guess? Most of you might be knowing the answer. If you have done it, it's a big thumbs up. The answer is @primary. Next question. Which annotation would allow to inject a bean only when a specific property is set? and matches a given value. In a configuration file, I have got many Spring Bean definitions. In one bean definition, the Spring Bean should be created only if a particular condition is met. The condition is provided in the properties file. So, what is the annotation that I need to add to check for a particular condition that is given in the properties file? Based on that, the bean object should be created. Any guess? So, the annotation here is conditional on property, where we will provide the property name and we will add one more attribute as having. If the value matches, the bean object will be created, or else it will not be created. So, it is conditional on property. Okay guys, 48 questions done. 2 more questions to go. I hope you have got most of the questions right. If not, we are learning. Let us move on to the next question. How can you execute code immediately after a Spring Boot application has started? That is, I want to execute some custom logic. Or just think of the scenario. I want to create it as a console based application. So how do you convert your Spring Boot application into a simple console based application? Time up. Let me tell you the answer. Your main class should implement command line runner or application runner. Then you need to override run method. Within the run method, you can start working on your custom logic. Okay, the last question, the final question. Which Spring concept allows to execute cross-cutting concerns like logging or transaction without modifying the core business logic of our application? Means in my application I will have only the core business logic. I will never add logging or transaction. There is one other way through which the logging needed for my classes will be automatically added. Any guess? Okay, that is nothing but AOP, aspect oriented programming. It can be achieved with the help of few annotations. The main annotations are at aspect, at before and at after. Okay, finally we have completed all the 50 questions successfully. Give a big pat on your back. No matter whether you have got the answers for all, it's okay, we are learning. So guys, congratulations for completing your Spring Boot Rapid Fire Challenge. Give a big pat on your back for completing this challenge successfully. It's okay even if you have not got 50. You are in the learning phase. I would like to know your scores. Please do share your scores in the comments. Few of the questions might have been easier for you. Few of the questions might have been complicated or tricky or indirect or really new to you. That is completely okay. You are learning. Now, if you really like this challenge, please share your thoughts in the comments. Based on that, I will come up with many more challenges in Spring Boot, Java and microservices. If you are a beginner or in the process of learning Spring, check out my course details that I have given in the description window. That's all for today. Meet you in the next video. Till then, let us learn, code and grow together. Thank you.